Welcome to Values and Visions. We're delighted to have the opportunity to share with you a central part of our work in Values and Visions. I am Sally Burns.
And I'm Georgeanne Lamont.
And we're just going to do some practicalities. The aim of today is that we will share with you 8 tools of reflection which we find equip young people for uncertain time and equip ourselves. We will set the context for that first before moving into the 8 tools. We aim to finish just before 9:50. Please have your mute on, your video off. Please use the chat facility, as some of you are already starting to do, to make comments, ask questions, and from time to time we will ask you to record things there. At the bottom of the screen you can see our Twitter handle @V&V Learning and the tweet #NTLD, so please feel free, in fact we encourage you to tweet. If the video freezes, the sound is lost, or there are any technical problems from our side, please let us know on the chat. The session is being recorded, so please anonymize if you wish to. The focus of today's meeting: how to equip ourselves as teachers and educators with 8 practical tools, so that in turn we can equip young people with the means to navigate uncertain times. And boy, are these uncertain times at the moment. Education in the UK is undergoing massive, constant, unpredictable change. We ourselves are needing to respond to that change. How do we stay stable and within ourselves, and help young people to stay stable amidst this storm, amidst these storms? Like a tree in a gale, we will need strong roots.
Right. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where this has come from, but before I do, can I just remind you, we actually go on till 10, and we'd love it if you can stay till 10. This project was born in 1989, when once again there was very large changes happening in education in the UK. The government was really seeming to put teachers into a straitjacket and take away their autonomy. And I could see that some teachers were getting crushed by that change and were falling sick, leaving the profession, taking early retirement, deeply disheartened. And I saw other teachers get through the change and come through it not just unscathed and safe, but stronger than ever, more creative than ever. And I wanted to know, what is it that really allows us to go through enormous challenges of change and transform it in something that increases everybody's well-being? So we researched that for 2-3 years and piloted it in some schools in Manchester. One of the original pilot school stars is here today, which is lovely. And we just listened to teachers, heard their stories, learned from what they were doing, experimented, developed our methodology and piloted with them, and published that in 1995. And really it was a methodology for making sure we're really equipped, all the shields and swords we need to get through change, you know. And we had a development group of people of all faiths and no faiths who helped develop it and have supported it. Actually, some of them have supported it over the last 30 years. In 2015, we decided it was time to republish. The first book was published by Hodder and Stoughton and reached tens of thousands of people globally. But we decided it was time to republish. Sally decided. And little did we know the journey it would take us on. So we did fresh research, what's really needed for right now. New things that we weren't aware of then are happening. And really to bring it fully up to date for teachers, bringing in new stories, new research from schools, new scientific understanding about change, especially in our minds. And that's the new resource we've created. And today we're going to take 8 tools, which are just part of the method, and share them. And we love them, so we're really pleased to share them. But one first principles of values and visions is always to start in the here and now of what's going on for you. So can I invite you to just take a couple of deep breaths and relax. And take a moment to be aware of what's the biggest challenge for you right now in your life, whether in school or in your personal life. And you might want to jot that challenge down. You might have a journal or a notebook with you. If so, just jot it down on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being like really big, 1, 2 being low. Just jot where it is on a scale of 0 to 10, because it might be interesting to look back at that in a couple of weeks' time and see how things have changed if you start using some of these tools. Right, so this change, the challenge of change, at the moment, it's constant, it's complex, very little notice. Yes, I do acknowledge that some people have gone through lockdown. Actually, it's been great for them. Very relaxing. My daughter's more relaxed than I've ever seen her. She can go to work in her pajamas, just a top on, no 2-hour commute. So for some people, it has, in its own way, been relaxing. But for most people, it's been constant, complex, short notice change, especially for SLTs and all of the teachers in schools physically. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion, leading to a sense of insecurity and stress, a degree of fear that one might feel in one's stomach. And the impact on learning for us as educators and for children is very high, because when we're stressed and anxious, a certain part of our mind is activated, which makes it physically very difficult for us to focus and concentrate and see what we're doing. And we can feel, in this state, we can feel, what's the point? What am I supposed to be doing? I've tried this and it hasn't worked. And we can end up feeling, why am I doing this? So not only do we want us now to be aware of the here and now in terms of the change we're experiencing, but in terms of today's world. So over to Sally. Unmute, Sally. Sally, can't hear you.
Sorry, I was coughing earlier, so I put myself on mute. My apologies to the audience. This activity invites us to relate what we do in school to what concerns us in our world. And I'd like you to take a moment, we'll be doing that a lot in this session, to think about today's world. What words come to mind, what adjectives come to mind or phrases when you think about today's world? Now, I am going to come out of the, and I'd like you to record those in chat. I'm for a moment coming out of sharing my screen, and I'm going to be madly typing those words into the PowerPoint. So, Georgeanne, can you tell us what words are coming up now for today's world?
Nothing yet.
Well, for me, it's volatile. Please remember to type into the chat.
Uncertain, chaotic, tumultuous, confusing, unpredictable, new normal, scary, unawareness, reforming, unrecognizable, confusing. I think that might be enough, Sally.
I think it is.
Thank you, everyone. Last one, roller coaster. Roller coaster, thank you.
Oh, I'll get in.
Dale with.
Roller coaster.
Thank you. Roller coaster. Yeah.
Right. Now I'll just get back to this. And let's see what you came up with. You should now have on the screen what you think today's world is. Now, what's important is we're working with young people. What we need to be aware of what young people need to survive in this world.
And thrive in this world.
Yes, not only survive, in fact, well, the phrase we would use is to engage actively in this world. We'd like you to reflect and be aware of one quality you would want to give your child or a student you're working with to engage actively in this world. What would that quality be? You might want to jot it down in your own notebook.
We've
Now,
got
we have asked
something through. We've got confidence, empathy, open-mindedness. Thanks, everyone. Sally, do you want to show?
Yes, these are some of the ones. We've asked this question of over the 30 years, I think, we've been working on this. And here are some of the key ones that have come up again and again. Joy, the freedom to grow, stability, truth, respect, wisdom, happiness, thankfulness, peace of mind, thoughtfulness, many more coming up. But those are what have been consistently coming up over the years that we have been doing this.
And we've got some more from participants here. Thinking for yourself. Mel says love. We've got the ability to communicate our feelings, to express compassion from Ben, to find meaning, resilience. So thank you all for contributing to that. Right. So we've established where we are in the here and now for ourselves and for the world and what this means for our young children, our young people. We work within a framework, and at the heart of the framework is a dynamic cycle. So constantly we are having experiences. We drop that experience into reflection. Out of the reflection on the experience, we decide on what's our purpose and what's our action. What are we going to do in response to this experience? So, but right at the moment, with so much change, if we look at the next slide, we see that something's missing, right? Something's missing. Oh, our values seem to have disappeared and the reflection seems to have disappeared. People are so busy, they're having the experience, they're reacting to it, they're having the experience, they're reacting. And the opportunity to stop and reflect is missing, is squeezed out, unless we deliberately choose to bring it back. So let's look back at the last slide. This is where we re-establish this cycle: experience, reflection, purpose and action, values at the heart. Why this is so important is we are constantly receiving stimuli. And let's say the stimulus is one of someone saying to you with a certain tone of voice, "Why are you late with that report? Why didn't you get it to me earlier?" That stimulus would trigger in us an automatic reaction of shrink or riposte, a return attack. Well, you should have told me you needed it earlier. Can we have the next slides to show that, Sally, please?
Well, I think we were just going to go first onto the collection of the whole tools and then start with stillness.
Oh, I'll show them all. Okay, I'll run through the tools first then. Okay, so all those tools are stillness, listening, story, encounter, joy and celebration, grief and letting go, visioning, new one we've put in, journaling. And these 8 tools, you don't need to use them all, just one will be would change things. These 8 tools are all based on what we've actively seen teachers and children do. Yes. So we'll go back
and we're going to move on now to the first of those tools and focus on stillness. Georgeanne.
Yeah. Thank you, Sally. So stillness. This young lady is looking very chilled, very comfortable, and still. She's simply present, she's still, empty of any rubbish in her thoughts. But you're going to have busy classrooms, lots of noise, lots of kids, and it might not always look like that, but you can use this tool absolutely anywhere. I've done it in warehouses, nurseries, everywhere. So just take a moment of stillness now. Just take a moment. Just a few deep breaths. And I'll get back to what I was teaching a little bit too early in my haste to get in here, which is that there might be a stimulus of, where's that report? Or, you're a bit late, aren't you? And you will have a reaction, well, I thought it was supposed to start at 9:20. I didn't know I was supposed to be here earlier. That stimulus reaction, that's the automatic reflex, which often serves us well, but in emotional terms, it doesn't. In social emotional, it doesn't. So what we teach is that you receive a stimulus and you create a gap. We call it stillness, but you might want to just call it press the pause, a gap. And in that gap, you can draw on all your creativity, you can draw on your core values, and you choose your response. So someone says, why have you parked your car like that? You just take a couple of deep breaths. Remember your compassion, not the love that you came up with earlier, and you respond, let me move it for you. You avoid so much hassle, stress, by just using stillness, just taking a moment.
Our next tool is listening. Now, this isn't just, excuse me, just listening. This is listening with your whole person, your ears, your eyes, and an open heart, so that you can hear the meaning behind the words. Now, I've been a support teacher in classrooms for many, many years, and I hear teachers say, listen, just listen, stop talking, listen. I've told you before, listen. And I've sat there and thought, they have not been taught how to listen. In the picture, you can see 3 students of mine, excuse me, and I spent a lot of time trying to teach them to listen. And in this photograph, you can see 2 of them, or 3 of them, engaging in an activity which we call 3-way listening. 2 of them, the 2 on the right, one is talking, one is listening with the whole person, and the 3rd one is watching and observing what's going on. This is just one of the many activities you can do, but we feel strongly that you do need to teach people how to listen.
So the next chapter and the next tool is story. And I'd like to tell you a story. So if you're sitting comfortably. 2 men went out in a boat on the high seas. One man starts drilling a hole in the bottom of the boat. The second man turns to him and says, what are you doing? And the first man says, oh, don't worry. I'm only doing it on my side. I won't do it on your side. That's one of many fables in the book. Fables communicate the essence of situations very often. Stories bring meaning and purpose. At the moment, all of us are receiving in our lives so much data, so many facts, so much data. At times it's hard to get a sense of what's the meaning of purpose in there. Every human being has their story to tell, and it's encouraging young people to tell their stories, share their stories, and for us all to listen, truly listen, and respect those stories. Over to you, Sally.
Yeah. There seems to be always a slight delay with my changing the slides. Our next tool is encounter. The main quality involved in encounter is openness. Openness to change and openness to being change. Being prepared to meet others with that openness, and not just others, but situations as well. In the classroom, you can do this by bringing in people to interact with your students and bringing in an object which perhaps stimulates questions which can lead on to an interview with people. But the main thing with encounter is creating that connection with other people and learning and changing yourself from that connection.
And the next tool is celebration. It's about making a song and dance about life, where it only hit once, we might as well enjoy it. So it's about appreciation, thankfulness, having fun, expressing gratitude. And this tool really lifts the atmosphere and the ethos of a school. I was talking to a teacher, Leisha, who'd been teaching for 40 years. And in 40 years, no teacher said anything to her appreciative or complimentary about her teaching. Her students did, but her colleagues didn't. How easy it would be to lift the mood in a school by becoming aware of those we appreciate, the qualities in them we appreciate, and expressing them. So I'd like us to just now do a little activity. I'd like you to take a moment of quiet and bring to mind a colleague or a student, and just jot down in your notebooks, or otherwise store them on with 5 fingers, 5 qualities that you appreciate about that person. And now, think about your school, or a school that you know, and very swiftly jot down the top 5 things you appreciate about that. And now shift your thinking to yourself. Lay aside your inner critic, which is only too often there, perhaps, and just appreciate 5 things about yourself. And we'd encourage you to do this every day at the start of the day. Just remember in your mind 5 things that you appreciate about yourself that you're bringing to the day. And gratitude is the practice of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude is particularly helpful, especially if you're irritated or frustrated or fearful, because in our mind, it's quite impossible to be both grateful and angry or frustrated. This teacher asked his students in an IB school to every morning write down 1 thing they're grateful for, put it in the gratitude jar. And on Friday, they opened up the jar and found all the gratitudes. Can you imagine the atmosphere in that classroom? And it's staying, whilst we're going through this massive change we're going through, it's staying alert to all the beauty, the love, the compassion that's still here. So next to celebration is grieving, and they're so closely connected. Grieving is about being open to the fact that just because we're human beings, we're inevitably going to suffer. We're going to experience disappointment, anger, frustration. We may be betrayed. Relationships get broken. We all suffer, and some groups of people suffer more than others. This beautiful young lady looks full of joy, and she clearly is full of joy, but she also will have things that are very painful for her. And of course, there are whole groups of people in our world and in this society who suffer from prejudice, who suffer from racism, from sexism. If someone has, within neurodiversity, if someone's an introvert or autistic, so many actually suffer because we're not able to empathize with them. What we do with grieving very safely is create a safe place in which to share, listen, hear stories, and value that person. And that's part of the healing and the grieving and letting go of it.
Our next tool is visioning, a very important tool, taking us forward into the future, not just picturing it, but actually being in the future and allowing it to help shape and create the present. And I'm going to take you into the future now. Put your feet firmly on the floor, sit up straight, relax your arms and shoulders, close your eyes, and take some deep breaths. Imagine that you're somewhere very peaceful. You look up and you see a time machine in front of you. Walk up to it, touch it. What does it feel like? You climb into the machine and you see the controls are pointing to the date September 2021, a future post-COVID-19. You press the control, and as you do so, you feel yourself and the time machine being gently yet swiftly lifted up and carried off into the future. As you move, you see light swirling around you. You're now arriving in your school in September 2021. Feel the machine landing gently. Now you're getting out of the machine and onto the ground, and you're in your school in September 2021. Take a first look around. What can you see? What can you hear? What does it feel like to be here? See the people. Have a look at what they're doing, at their faces. Look at the environment. What can you see? What can you hear? What does it feel like to be in this place? Now take one last good look. What's the most important thing you have seen in this visit to your school in the future? It's time to return. Climb into your time machine. Press the control for time present and return gently and safely to your room. When you're ready, open your eyes and stretch, and you will be back in July 2020. This is a very powerful tool, and this particular activity I've used in the classroom in English lessons, taking people forward to picture the future, to write poetry or creative writing pieces. I've also used it with groups to focus on projects to do with community, taking them forward to what this project might look like, and then bringing those ideas and thoughts back to the present. Visioning is a very powerful tool, and we need it more than ever, I think, at the moment.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sally. And the last tool, the 8th tool, confess it's my favorite, is journaling. Someone's just said, one of our participants, how suffering is intrinsic to being a person, I think. And I think that's absolutely true. To be a human being means you experience joy and you experience suffering. A journal is a notebook in which to reflect and explore your experience. Whenever we work with people, we give them an empty book and a notebook, a journal, and that's like an open room that's there just for you to actually use all the other 7 tools. As this participant has said, It's intrinsic to being human that we suffer. So why not take your journal first thing after you've done your affirmations and jot down 5 things you can celebrate? Because if there is so much suffering, it's really helpful to direct our mind to what is positive, not to be blind to what's difficult, but not to be caught by it. So to use your journal to celebrate, first thing. Use your journal when you've had a run-in with a colleague. Write down, you know, get your story out. What was going on? Get your feelings out. Someone earlier said, in this world, we need to be able to express our feelings. You can express them at any time to your journal. Use the journal to express gratitude at the end of the day. And I really like at the beginning of anything that's important to take my journal and write my vision. How do I truly want this situation to be? And how will I be feeling when I am in that situation? And using a journal to really practice all these tools. And the journal becomes like a companion on the journey of life, so that whatever experience you have, you can reflect on it. And some of you would say, well, we don't have time for this. But I would say most of us manage to find 10 minutes to go over things at 2 o'clock in the morning, or to go over and over why someone left that there or did something wrong. We find a lot of time for negative thoughts. Our minds are wired for negativity. That's its default. So we have to actively do something different. So these tools of reflection, take even one of them and it would change how you experience your life. Stillness, listening, story, encounter, joy and celebration, grief and letting go, visioning and journaling. Now, what I'd like you to do is just take a moment of stillness. And in this stillness, take a few deep breaths, and I'm going to talk you through a very simple meditation. All right? So on the first word, breathe in. The second word, breathe out. So breathe in, breathe out. Deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment. Wonderful moment. And in this present wonderful moment, become aware of one thing that you're taking away from this session, one action that you can take, and when you'll do it. Because these tools are very practical, they're about action. If anyone in the chat can let us know what you're going to do, that'd be great to see it. One thing that's just come through is that our goal shouldn't just be happiness, but finding meaning. That's a far greater goal, is a search for meaning. And this would include many of the tools that we're talking about. And indeed, our work is all about the Values and Visions Foundation. It's all about finding meaning and purpose in a volatile world. Sally, over to you.
Yes, well, just to round up, I'd like to say that all the activities that we've covered today and the theory behind it, which has been developed over 30 years, is in Values and Visions. You can buy it online, or you can go to our website, valuesandvisions.com, or when you get the video of this PowerPoint, you can actually click on the book and it will take you there. The book's available in hardback, it's available in Kindle, on Amazon, and it's also available in the Apple Store in an EPUB version, which if you want an electronic version is a better version. And here are contact details. We'll leave this screen up so that you can take those down if you want to. We'd be very happy for you to contact us, and we will send you out, because we have your emails, and with your permission, and if you don't want to receive this, please tell us in the chat. We will send out a handout on stillness, the 1-minute meditation you've just seen, and a handout on listening. We'd love you to sign up to our online community. You can do that by visiting our website. And we don't inundate you with emails. We just send them from time to time to update you on what we're doing and the blogs we've written. So thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Before we go, can I just feedback what people are going to do now? Lots are going to be practicing stillness.
Yes, if we've got time, I think we have, please do.
Yes, someone has said, however tough something gets, I haven't got it quite in front of me, but they're going to celebrate. Lots of people are going to use the gratitude jar, more stillness, lots of thanks from people, thank you for the thanks, and giving people encouragement, and using this with a year group. And of course, it's great to use it for form time, year group time, PSHE, SEL, all those things. This is really for right across the curriculum. Create a buffer between reaction and response. I think that says it all. It's been so lovely to be with you all. So thank you. Thank you
very much. We very much look forward to hearing from you. Sorry, Georgeanne, I cut across you.
That's fine. And do stay in touch. We'd love to stay in touch. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.